The information and opinions presented in this podcast are based on research done at a particular point in time. The fields of medicine, surgery, psychology, etc. are constantly evolving as new studies and movements happen. Please take into account the year of any particular episode's publication, and as new information presents itself, we will do our best to release updated episodes on the topics. Listener discretion is advised for references to medical terminology of body parts. Unless otherwise stated, no one speaking on this podcast is a medical or legal professional and cannot provide medical or legal advice. Welcome to the Trans Field Guide. Welcome to the show. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourselves for the audience.
Hey, I'm Marxel.
I'm Nicholas.
Basically, just what we're going to talk about today is experiences that we've all had where we realize the difference between the social expectations between before we started presenting as our true selves and afterwards. So kind of to give an example, like a very short example, not terribly long after I started T, I was at Steak and Shake with my girlfriend and we were done and getting ready to pay, and we had agreed while we were in line that we were going to pay separately. And so we get up to the front and she starts paying for herself, and there's this guy standing next to me and he's like, "Nah, man, you got to pay for the ladies." And he's kind of like ribbing on me for not paying for her and stuff like that. And meanwhile, my girlfriend's trying to say, well, no, I wanted to pay for myself. And he's not acknowledging her that she even spoke. Because she's like, no, we're having like a bro moment type of thing. And it was very surreal for me. And I'm pretty sure y'all have had similar experiences to that.
Yeah, I can kind of relate with that. A couple months ago, it was kind of like after, it was in between now and when I had top surgery in May. But it was when I was kind of feeling better. I went to a gun range with one of my friends at college, like in the same college town. And while we were there, it was me, my buddy Nick, and our friend Michaela. And we got out to the gun range, and there were two, I want to say they were officers that were out there, just shooting around, enjoying themselves, keeping themselves sharp. And we got to talking about guns with them and showing them the pieces that we were using and the pieces they were using. And one thing that was really interesting is that the main guy we were talking to, he really would only address me and Nick. And for me, I feel like since I've had top surgery, I still sometimes get misgendered because I haven't started hormones yet, but still I feel like I've been pretty masculine, presenting that there's a pretty good amount of times where people will get it right. But it was just really interesting to be in that situation where these guys, again, the situation where you're being one of the boys or whatever, and everybody was talking, she was even talking, but she would say something, and it's like she wasn't even there for them. So that was a really interesting thing, too. It was good, but at the same time, it made me feel kind of it's like, why are you guys like this?
Yeah.
So it was cool, but it wasn't cool, but it's cool.
I haven't really, had, those kind of instances, mostly because I don't go out, because, I'll, right now, my life consists of, school and work, but a lot of, my issues have be coming from work. I had this really cute story. There was this little boy and his dad, and it was at my old store. And I was walking with my supervisor, and this little boy was like, "Look, it's a boy and a boy." And the dad was like, "No, that one's clearly a girl." And it was way before I started doing anything. Or not doing anything. I was baby steps. Yeah. And I was like, alright, that's fine. Just kind of kept it cool. And my supervisor was like, "Don't take that. That's crap. It's clearly two guys." And I'm like, no, it's cool. There's some people that don't really, get it. And that's fine. But
Well, I know you said that you also had, interesting story that happened a couple of days ago.
yes. So now I'm at this new store. And I'm stock product. I work cap to it. And, there was this mom and her daughter, and they had their coupon book, and they plopped down in the middle of an aisle with their coupon book, and the mom was going out and doing something. That didn't really bother me, because it's Walmart. We've all sat with the coupons and the coupon book. And So I take my box and I walk around and I stock and I come back. And then, like, I had my box of tampons. I gotta stock tampons. My job. So I go over there and we're not, like, no farther than this. And I squat down and I start stocking. This girl's like, I had a friend who was born a girl and now they're a man. Okay. Like, is this just what you do? Like, I don't understand. And she paused for a minute. Because, like, I can't really say nothing because this is my job. Like, I'm like, all right, cool. Let's stop the tampons and keep on going. And she's like, I'm sorry. I just like to start really awkward conversations. And, like, the entire time I'm just like, this is not an awkward conversation. This is just you.
It's like a conversation is two people like participating.
This is me like noping out of the situation. And like that was to the point like not like my people meter was like 2 hits max already that day. So like when my boss came by and he was like, hey, how's it going? And he's like, how much you got left? And I was like, I got this buggy. He's like, cool. And like he could tell something was going on and I was like, can I go home? Like this is I'm good.
This has become a nope.
Yeah. Well, like, people will make very unnecessary commentary or observations in general. But, like, I know that I have noticed that there's, and I know that I've read a lot of articles and a lot of books of, like, where, like, guys have pointed out the fact that once you start transitioning and presenting as male and people start acknowledging you as male, it's like everything shifts as far as like the expectations and the way people interact with you, and you start becoming even more aware of the like, I'm trying to think of the word, I want to say like gender disparity in like society.
I see what you mean by that, because there are a lot of moments where I feel like oddly, I am surrounded by a lot of women most of the time. Just like a lot of my friends are women and stuff anyway, but like there have been a lot of times where I just go out in public and, I'll just be doing whatever and I'll start talking to another guy. And somewhere at the beginning of the conversation, I feel like I have a giant like yellow exclamation point because like they'll say something and I'm like, what? Like, or there'll be an interaction and it is a very like, it's different, and it's
because they start like broing at you.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And I don't have a better way of describing that other than like, we're bros. We can talk to each other like bros, bruh.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I do that to a lot of people. Just like, bruh, like you'll never like it's crazy.
Yeah, I feel like I say man too much.
I know,
like,
right?
What's up, man? It's like,
you won't even believe.
I feel that also like on the like touch of this. And in the whole, like, as far as society, especially being in the South, I can't tell you, like, I always say dude and bro and stuff, but I don't like our Southern, like, hospitality, because I can't tell you, like, when I walk into somewhere and I'm just like, oh my God, please don't say, good evening, ma'am, or good evening, sir, or, like, it's like, we're in the South, why doesn't everybody just say y'all at this point, That's something I, like, super dread, because I never, like, there are a good amount of times where I feel like I'm like in the safe zone, but no matter like what, anytime I walk into like a restaurant or something, or like either walking in or walking out, I just like sweating. I'm like, here we go.
I had another story about what happened about another time. So I'm stocking pharmaceuticals. So this older woman and her grandchild come up to me and I'm stocking this little girl just very loudly. It's just like, are you a boy or are you a girl? And the grandma's like, well, clearly he is boy. And I was like, yes, I am. And like, for little kids, I can understand why it's like really confusing sometimes. Like, they get a pass. And I was like, yeah, you go, grandma. Like, you're the best. And then she like started explaining more, and I was like, I gotta go. This gets worse.
Yeah. It's like, I do not need to be figure A for this lesson.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like kids like are more intuitive than adults, though. Because when I had my retail job, there would be, like, for a little while, they had me working down, like, in the kids' department. And like kids would come down there and they would get it and they'd be like, "Mister, can you help me?" or something. I go like help them and they'd be like, I want to show my mom." And then like the parents would come up and they'd get it wrong. It's like, did you not hear the kid say "Mister"? The kid had it right. So I don't know. Sometimes I feel like kids just like kind of see things and they get it, and then the adults are weird. But
they have to be kids within the right age group because it needs to be like in the still pretty innocent and open-minded phase. Because once they get into the like starting to get kind of catty age, where they're like closer to 10, and they start learning the bad habits of like, oh, that person's different. We're gonna go whisper about them over here. Like, that's when it's like, no, keep the children away.
I feel like part of that, though, too, is just, like, society's gender expectations, because, like, I don't know, like, I feel like especially, like, as an AFAB person growing up, like, I feel like more so than, like, cis guys got when they were little, I feel like when you're AFAB growing up, there's, like, people, like, you hit a certain age and people start hitting, like, rules and expectations on you. Like, what is this? You know, like, what is this? What's happening? I don't understand. I'm going to go get dirty.
Yeah.
It's like, I just want to go outside and play.
Yeah.
I don't care. Yeah.
And then,
like, speaking of that, I think it's kind of weird, too. Like, being in relationships with different, like, people. Because, especially, like, every time I'm in a different relationship with a different, like, woman, like, I feel like, especially if they've been with cis men, they expect that, and then when they don't get that, they're like, wow, it's so odd not having to. It's like, what do you mean? I'm not a kid. Like, you don't have to wipe the toilet behind me, or like
have to wipe down the front of the toilet, or like all that.
I'm not gonna lie, sometimes when my ego gets to me and I'm like, I'm gonna pee on the toilet seat. It's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, stop. It's okay.
But it does become that thing of like, where the chicks are just like, wow, you're like better than real men. And which then creates this whole other complex thing.
And I feel like that's kind of like, that kind of goes into the toxic masculinity too. And it's like, how can dudes get better when, like, you kind of have this expectation, like, the dude's clean and you diss him, but then you get mad whenever you say all the dudes, like, you've been with are gross. Like, I'm confused.
Where it's like, because you do have those women where it's like, I want you to be well groomed, but only up to a specific extent. Otherwise, you're obviously gay. Regardless on what you say, you are obviously gay. If you have like unless you have like, the exception being the man bun and beard blowout guys, where they have like the perfectly coiffed beard that comes to like just the top of their chest, no further, and like the waxed mustache and the slicked back hair that may or may not have a man bun attached to it.
Yeah.
And then like all the girls swoon over that. But if you're equally as well groomed, but don't have the like manly man feature of the beard, then like you're gay or a douche.
Yeah.
It's like, I just want to be clean.
Yeah.
It's crazy because like, again, I'm at work and I go to all these girls and they're over there like sniffing all like the man smells of like Old Spice and like Slaw, and I'm like, wow, but this one, they're like, I don't know, and I'm like, bro, it smells clean. Like, I just want to be clean. I can't help it. Like, sure, like, smelling like sandalwood, like, probably is, like, really good. Or, like, what is it, the new spice that they have come out with, like, Dragon Blast or whatever? Like, that smells like oranges. And I don't want to, like, smell like I've just, like, eaten a whole ton of them. Like, I just want to be clean.
That's the funny thing, though. It's like, this smells like oranges, but because it's called Dragon Blast, like...
Therefore, it's a man smell.
Yeah, it's a man smell. Wow, he smells so fruity. No, it's Dragon Blast.
It's Dragon Blast.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
it's
as long as...
Like,
I was like, as long as I don't smell like swamp ass, I'm happy.
Right?
Crazy.
The scents they come up with, and then they want to sit there and be like, I don't want to smell like lavender. I don't want to smell like, I would rather smell like lavender than whatever the just came out of your pants. Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't.
Well, it's like, and I also don't want to smell like a 17-year-old boy.
Exactly.
Like, I don't want to have the Axe can just be like...
Yeah, I learned that shit the hard way. That was a bad day. Because I was in band, so we were in the locker room. And I sprayed it one day, and this girl was like, oh my god, when are y'all so good? So the next day, I walked in that bitch and I sprayed like the whole can, and the same chick was like, bitch, what am I like, damn it.
If she thinks that one spritz smells good, the whole can must smell even better.
Yeah, I was so upset. I was like, it didn't work.
The advertisements lied to me.
For real.
That's right. Isn't that how they used to do it? It's like the girls would just come running after you.
Yeah.
Or like he would spray it and they would literally just like fly through the air like a f***ing magnet, just whoosh, like.
It's nuts. None of my expectations.
False expectations. Oh, so upsetting. Dude, they get them good names and good pictures of bears and wolves on the thing, and that's all you need.
Now they have like the new like, I guess it's like the natural smell. So there's like volcano and like deep scrub, and I'm like, what are you doing?
What does volcano smell like?
Nothing.
I feel like it smells like despair. Yeah.
It's like guess I'm gonna use volcano. What's that smell like? Like I have to use it. Like
When I think of like volcano scent, I just think of like lots of people crying and running. I think of Pompeii in Hawaii, man, and it's just.
I think about that video where the guy just puts a can of ravioli in the middle of the lava and watches it explode. That's the smell of the volcano. Over, like, really, really burnt ravioli.
Somebody would wear it, though. Somebody would do it.
When the cis dude bros want to get you in on all that hot, toxic masculinity... I have had it where they do put that, like, expectation on you where it's like, you're a guy like me. That means that, you know, you'll back me up on being a douchebag, and I'm like, no.
It's kind of interesting, too, because, like, on holidays and stuff, like, when I just chill with, like, my brother and my cousins and, like, you know, all of them, like, we'd be sitting in the room watching, like, games and stuff. It is interesting, because, like, it's weird, first of all, because, like, the household splits. Like, the dudes would just kind of randomly go off into a room that's way too damn small and sit on, like, as many people on the couch as possible, and everybody else gets foldy chairs.
pretty much.
So they can surround the TV, and it's, like, it's weird because, you know, like, I feel like the ladies will just be, like, doing their thing, and they're talking about whatever the hell they're talking about. Like, they're talking about, like, people things. Like,
yeah.
You know, the dudes, I feel like they go in there and they talk about, like, yeah, they're watching the sports, but then they'll talk about, like, the familial things that are happening with the women, and it's like, I just sit there and scratch my head. I don't know. It's very interesting.
That's the whole reason why at family get-togethers I would go hang out with the smokers.
Terrible.
That's honestly another thing that I've noticed, like, after, like, finally passing and, like, being one of the dudes, the amount of dick jokes and in general.
I feel like the weird thing about hanging with, like, cis dudes is I've never been in a situation where, like, it doesn't come down to a dick conversation. I don't think I've been in a situation where it doesn't have, like, a penis conversation at some point, or, like, a dick joke, like you said.
Mm-hmm. It's nuts. Like, just last night at work, like, this one is a trip. But, like, when it gets close to leaving, it just goes out the window. He's, like, singing and talking and making jokes. And, like, he'll just give you, like, this look. And he's just like, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Like, and I'm like, why? Why every time with me, this is what happens? It's crazy. But, yeah, all the time. There's, like, some kind of, like, dick joke or penis talk or just something in it. And I'm like, yeah, I totally relate to you with, like, my non-penis having situation over here. But
totally, 100%.
So, like, do either one of y'all, like, have, like, gym memberships or anything?
There's a gym in my apartment complex. Like, we have, like, the little fitness center.
Okay.
So I don't go to it, but obviously.
Well, with you being on campus, especially if you ever go to, like, the rec, now that, because y'all are on T, I feel like y'all, you know, obviously I would assume that y'all pass all the time.
I would say, like, 95%.
Till I talk.
What?
And then it's like, oh.
I know. I still don't understand that at all.
My thing is, like, it'll be random.
Yeah.
It'll be completely random. And it'll be, one of those where I'll be talking to somebody and they'll just randomly be like, yeah, he,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I kind of want to give them the benefit of the doubt because I know some people do that to cis people.
Yeah.
But if, like, the second time they do it, and I just kind of want to sit there and be like, do you see this on my face?
Yeah.
I want you to really see it.
It's like, pull it if you have to.
Right.
Like,
It's real.
yeah. But I was gonna ask, like, with, like, if you go to the rec and stuff, you know, there are, like, certain places where you have, like, lockers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Have you gone into locker rooms and, like, what's their expectations of, like, that kind of thing?
I have been avoiding locker rooms like the plague.
Dude, I feel that shit.
Like, before the tea really set in, I was still going to the fitness center at my work, but still using, like, the women's locker room. But around the time that I was like, okay, I really need to start using the men's restroom, I was like, I really don't want to go into the men's locker room. Because it's really considered, like, almost like an unspoken faux pas for you to want to go and change in, like, a stall in the locker room. Because it's like, well, what are you afraid of? It's just us guys in here type of thing. And it's like, okay, but I'm still, like, when I take this shirt off, like, all bets are off.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm just waiting until after top surgery before I go into a gym again.
I think I went to was the rec once, and like I saw those guys out there just because it's all open over at their rec. I'm just like,
You're like, nah, man.
because even though like things have changed and like I've kind of gotten smaller since I've been on T, but it's still very noticeable.
Yeah.
When I put on the sports bra and stuff.
Like this episode? Tell someone about it. Have any questions or concerns? Please feel free to send an email to transfieldguide@gmail.com. Also be sure to subscribe to keep up with the latest episodes. Stay safe and remember, I'm proud of you.